All right. So let's go ahead and jump right into this here and talk all about the 3 strategies I'm going to share here today. So first things first, I want to start off with a quick introduction of who I am, because some of you may not know who I am. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of SendLane. And what I like to do is, why do I matter and why do I matter to you? Well, first things first, as I was mentioned, I'm a former retailer. I had a brick and mortar e-commerce site. I'm a digital marketer. So I've been built 3 businesses based around digital ultimately. And I've been a digital marketer specializing in email since 2009. And SendLane was literally co-founded and created out of need and necessity for my other businesses, including my e-commerce business, which is why I'm so excited about what we do here. And we created and founded SendLane in 2017 and started to build towards what we are today. And there's some cool logos you might have seen where I have been featured and seen around the internet. So my goal here today is very simple. One, I want to take you from this old ass concept of what you might be doing today because you may have not been taught differently, or the reason that you just haven't had the time to invest. And I want to teach you strategy and understanding and really take you from this idea of just batch and blast and sending to your audience to really driving down core segments to drive LTV from your customer for customer lifetime value, focusing on that using some cool frameworks that I'm going to share here today. All right, so here's my today's step-by-step action plan of what I'm going to share here with you today. So first, we're going to start off with the 20-60-20 rule, using this something called MVC in about 2 minutes from now. Then we're going to drive into goals leveraging AOR. So we're going to use that MVC I teach you on the first one. We're going to tell you how to leverage it using something I call the AOR and implement it. And then we'll get personalized by talking about hyper-personalization to maximize revenue, of course. And then the last thing, it's perfect. It's the holiday. Let's talk about the holidays. If you don't have a plan, I'm going to give you a plan, a tried and true plan that I've used, implemented across not only my own businesses, but other businesses, clients, and friends that I consult for. And I've got a perfect plan for you that you can utilize and leverage here today. So that's everything I'm going to give you. And we'll make sure we get these slides out to everybody at the end of this presentation as well, too. All right, first things first, let's talk about some cool stats. Let's first off remember it's 25 times harder to acquire a customer than to retain. And I know some of these stats probably have been said by other talks, but it's good. You should hear this over and over again because you really need to hear it, because acquisition's great, except retention's much easier to do if you do it properly. And best part, a lot of times it's more set or forget a lot of things, and it allows things to happen, right? An existing customer will spend 31% more on a purchase. After the first purchase, 27% will come back for a second, 45% for a third, and 54% for a third purchase. So look at that, right? The more you nurture the customer, the more the experiences that you can generate with them, how you're communicating and build that loyalty, well, it's obvious they're buying over and over again. And ultimately, the best stat I love is 17% will spend 17% more. That's what they'll spend on a repeat transaction, 25% more during the holidays. So really cool stats. Just gives you an idea and understanding that really you should be focusing on this if you haven't. And if you are, well, I hope I can start teaching you how to really think about it. So let's talk about segmenting with the 20-60-20 rule using MVC. So what I'm about to talk to you is all about segmentation, actually. And a lot of people think, oh, segmentation, here's my active engage, here's my active opens. That's great, but that's pretty amateur these days. And what I want to start teaching you is how you should be thinking about your business and thinking about segmentation and how you should be attacking that within your marketing and driving strategy behind that. So segmentation is very simple, finding the ideal pool of customers that you want, right? And understanding your customer and developing those pool of people, splitting them up. I've got a little chart here on the right side, 20-60-20, pretty obvious what it looks like, right? So what does that really mean? So first off, what is MVC? MVC is your most valuable customer. These are your customers. And it doesn't always mean that your customer that spends the most. It's really just something that I like to think about as how you frame this exercise. It's typically based on total spent, but you can also do it on engagement, sign-up sources, demographics, product interest, product history, and so forth. You can do this with anything, but for simplicity today in this presentation, I'm going to use dollars. And because it's really easy, I'm going to use $100, in fact, because I'm going to keep this really simple for everybody. $20 or less is the low end. $20, $80 or more is the high end, and everything from 21 to 79 would be a middle if I put $100 and slapped it right into that chart. So we're going to use that number. Remember that, because that's what we're going to talk about throughout the entire part of this presentation. All right. So segment one, you're non-profitable. Using that example again, this would be your people who spend 20 bucks or less at your average store value is $50 and they're spending $20 or less within your store. All right. So they're spending less than your average order value and doesn't engage often with your emails, most likely. Then you've got segment number two, which is your 60%. These are the people spending $21 all the way up to $79, right? So these are your $60% average customers. That's your average lifetime value, CLTV. The majority of your customers will fall under this. They're happy with the product or service. They spend an average AOV, engage with your communication, and they might buy again. And then you got segment number three, your best buyers, the ones that are repeat buying. These are all your VIPs, your brand ambassadors, your most loyal fans ultimately. In dollar context again, we're going to say that these people are spending 80 bucks or more up to $100 because we've determined now using my example that $50 is the median of this channel. So those are your three segments. So now we got the full picture, right? We've got your most valuable customers, your 20, your 60, and your 20%, right? You've got your non-profitable, average profitable, and best buyers. Every business has some version of this split. And remember that it doesn't have to be dollar-based. It all depends on how your business is built. And ultimately, I can't tell you that without looking at it, of course, but everybody has a way to build this. And the cool part about this is we're going to talk about stacking this later on and how you utilize it to leverage this framework over and over within the strategy of what you're doing in marketing. So let's take it one step further and think about it, right? We just talked about it. Well, the total amount is great. How can we get even more hyper-targeted? Get more granular. Hyper-targeting by using those segments and breaking it down further by product, category, frequency, or of order visits. The best segments are hybrids of both CLTV and engagement, lack of, a sign-up source where you're actually bringing it from demographics and product interests. Those are the best. So we just talked about a simple of LTV, but you can start layering this on. And of course, this means that you've got to have the right tool here today in order to get all this data in order to be able to utilize a lot of these strategies, of course, as well. All right. And there's purchase history. So all that understanding of MVC, I just gave you a quick way. We're now segmenting your audience. We're breaking it down. We're splitting it up. We're making it useful. We're making your information and data of your store and the data that you've already got from the customers that are already paying you, the information they're already giving you, you're using that to your advantage. So how do we now start thinking about this and driving what I call the AOR effect with that MVC, right? So leveraging MVC to drive goals for each segment. So here it is. Acquisition, which is number one, getting a new customer with a goal to make him profitable. It's not about just getting a customer. It's about getting the right customer, the customer that fits the right profile and look, and the customer that you want buying your product or service. I know we all think we all want the money to come in, but ultimately you built your product for somebody. Who is your ideal customer? Your acquisition channel is driven around focusing on that and focusing on what they should look like in order to drive that and measuring for that. Then we've got optimization, which is goal number two, moving a customer up the next segment. So when I talk about optimization, it's great to say, oh, I did 8% CTR, 9% CTR, made $10, made $12. That's all great. But the reality is what truly in my mind is optimization is taking a group of people, a group of segment of people ultimately, and being able to move them up different tiers. In this case, using the MVC framework, and we're using that same example, $20 the low, $80 the high, and then everything in the middle, right? It's taking a customer who is in the middle segment, for example, and getting him to the high segment, or taking someone from the low segment and moving them into the middle, but doing it in actual masses, not one-on-one, but actual masses, and being able to optimize for that, of course, using a tool so you're not doing it manually. And number three is retention, because, well, they're here. Now you got to keep them here. And what are you going to do to drive that customer experience, right? So that's AOR. All right, let's break this down further now. So acquisitions. First, let's talk about finding that right customer, because that's what matters ultimately first. Because if you don't have the right customer, they're not going to buy your product. They're not going to convert. They're not going to enjoy it. They're not going to be your loyal fans. So you need to make sure that you're out there finding the right customer. Your goal is to acquire a customer and get them to repeat or maximize your at-cart value to become a best buyer. And have a fully defined customer onboarding strategy. I know I heard it in plenty of these talks. If your onboarding is that they purchase and then you'll notify them when shipping is going to happen sometime soon, and then, then you're going to start blasting with newsletters. Well, I hate to tell you, my friend, but your onboarding strategy is very broken, and you're leaking money out the corner right there that you probably haven't even thought about. And it's not going to be solved by any tool. It's being solved by you going out and really understanding your customer journey and what it should look like along the way. So when you think about that journey, it looks like this: website visitor, they make a conversion, and then they go into your CLTV cycle, right? Here's the flywheel, the typical one, right? Point of sale, post upsell, what's that called again? Subscriptions, fulfillment, what's that called? Reviews, social proof, email and SMS marketing. And it's just this ultimate loop over and over again. Well, we all know that's how you raise your CLTV. But in order to drive that, you've got to find the right customer that fits the right cart value and helps and having onboarding strategy that customer can be nurtured through your CLTV funnel. Very simple, but it's not, right? So here's the 4-step action plan and what properly set up stores should always have set up. First, you got to have a way to collect, right? If you're thinking about acquisition is not the sale. It's the act of finding the person who may be interested and they ultimately will buy, right? So a lead gen or whatever, a pop-up, a funnel, a coupon, spin the wheel, intent, do something, right? You got to find him. You got to bring him in. You got to funnel him up. Then you got to have rock solid email copy. Please, this is 2022 now. Email copy is more relevant than ever. Copy in general, not just email, but SMS, any copy is more relevant than ever right now. And if you're a product, if it's just a bunch of product images and sales, well, you're going to get product image and sale type results. You've got to create rock solid email with a solid CTA that speaks to that new potential buyer. Then, of course, you got product purchasing, right? Making sure you're targeting the communications and the products down to what you believe that this person that you've acquired is going to be most interested in, right? Because if you're laser targeting on your acquisition channel, then you're laser targeting on what you want them to feel and experience and flow through and ultimately purchase. And of course, that drives a unique customer journey with goals, right? Where you need to share things like your brand, your story, your mission, and really engulf the user a lot more than just sales, right? You want to make sure that they understand and connect to you because especially in this generation with Gen Z, well, they need to have a meaningful connection. They want to buy with you, not from you. And that's one very big mindset change you've got to change as well too. So how do we start thinking about optimization now that we've got acquisition out of the way? We start thinking about the optimization of what it might really be. Well, let's think about the simple ones. Experimentation, right? We've got open clicks and revenue conversions. Experiment constantly, over and over. The beautiful thing about experimentation is this, and this is what I tell people. It's not about just improving one campaign. It's about improving your marketing strategy. So every time you're experimenting, you're learning something new. It's allowing you to not do that again and continue testing until you maximize it. There is never a day where optimization ends. Optimization is an ongoing snowball. And that means that every day you can optimize, that means you're improving. And if you look at it, right, I'm sure you've heard of the thing, get 1% better a day or 1% better a week or whatever it might be. It compounds really fast. And it's really important to think like that. So make sure you're setting yourself goals when you're doing optimization. So don't just optimize with a goal behind it. And then there's retention, which is the last one. And this is the most important for CLTV. Your goal is to keep the user engaged with your brand with a great customer experience throughout their entire time with your brand. You really want them from the day they enter to the day they leave. They will leave one day, most likely. When they leave, you want them to come back out and say, wow, that was a great experience. And what I mean by that is not experience in that, oh, someone's mad at you or someone's angry at you or any of that. What I mean by experience is you're taking what would have been the digital or the retail real life experience where you say, hey, welcome to my store. And you're carrying him through your store, walking through, show him the signs, show him the banners, show him the fitting room, or show him whatever you're working with. And you're creating that experience digitally. Now, digitally, it's different, right? It's not the same. In real life, it's not digital at all. However, you need to think like that when you're creating experience for your brand, right? So with that, what should you be testing while you're looking through that retention, right? Experiment, test, subject lines, pre-header, body, CTAs. You guys all know. I know you guys are all smart marketers and founders out there listening. These are all the basic things, but you should be testing them all constantly and playing with it and going out of your comfort zone because this is how you optimize and make money and also maximize your CLTV. And there's other things like timing and sender names. You can play with everything. You should always be thinking about it because what you'll find sometime about timing is timing has been one of my secret triggers for quite some time with a lot of the things, finding when your audience is awake and alert and expecting your email. And you can do this by using your GA, your social channels, and seeing when people are engaging with your social channels and your GA. You can also check by sending email and being able to see by time. Hopefully your ESP breaks it by time. If it doesn't, you've got a problem there too. You got to be able to see that as well. All right. So let's talk about how you increase that retention as you think about it. First, from initial card experience to shipping to communication, create a fully cohesive, communicative experience. That's the number one thing. There's nothing worse than not having a communicative experience. Number two, share the brand story and mission early and often. Say it till it seems overly repetitive because people need to know. In order to be a great D2C brand, especially in the market right now, you've got to have a reason why people want to follow you and buy from you instead of just going to Amazon and buying from whatever they see and find. There's a reason for that. You got to have a reason for a person to connect emotionally with you and be clear and consistent. I think too many people try to be vague, clickbaity, tricky. Just be clear and consistent. People don't want ambiguity. They want really to hear what it is, what they're going to get, and be able to get it, right? And last but not least, create value with every message. And I'm not talking about you don't need to create a vlog or create a podcast or create a book. None of that's that important. What it is value around what you're doing, your product or service. Value can be as simple as your social reviews, instructions. It could be how-tos. It could be success stories with your product or service. It could be about just something cool you did as a company. But create value with every message. Of course, make sure you sell and have a CTA with every message. However, find a way to find value at the same time. So that leads me to getting personal via hyper-personalization. All right. So when you think about getting hyper-personalized, let's get deeper into the thought process first. All right. Make sure you're sending emails with purpose. Don't send emails because you just think you need to send emails. Don't send emails because you want to make money. Find a purpose. If making money is the purpose, well, set a goal behind that, right? Make sure that you are making them feel unique and appreciated. And we're going to break this down on how to do this in a second here, but make them feel unique and appreciated and tell them something about themselves. Hyper-personalization is really identifying and letting them know that, hey, you're special to me. We know about you. We understand who you are, and you're not just a random visitor, but you're someone we have a little bit more contact. Think about it in brick and mortar retail. It's the person who's made a couple purchases. You've seen them around the store a couple times and interacted with them. You know them enough that you know that they like blah, 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 right? XYZ. And you should know that that's a better experience if you walk into the store and you feel that they know you. Create that experience digitally. All right, so here's how. Don't email to email or SMS to SMS. People already get 100 plus emails a day. They got tons of SMS already. Well, first of all, if you don't have a unified email and SMS product, by the way, well, you have to, because there's no delays in data. And if you have delays in data, well, you're going to have delays in the way that communication happens. If I want to send an email and 3 hours later send an SMS and say, I don't want anybody who opened my email, but I want to send an SMS to those people, can't do that if it's not unified. So something to think about. Segment further. Customers visited, but they haven't made a purchase of another product. They haven't done X or done Y. Think holistically around how you can think about your business. I love the customer visit my page in the last 30 days and is a high value. If I have my 20% MVC, which is my highest, most valuable customers, and I segment that down, layered it with visited a page of mine in the last 30 days, I guarantee you I've got a pool of buyers there. It might be small, but there's a pool of buyers there that are ready to pull the trigger. They might just need you to push them just a little bit. Leverage the data. Use that data to segment your audience to drive personalized product recommendations. Look, you guys have all the data in the world. Take that data. Understand if person buys X, most likely they're going to buy Y. You already get spit out a lot of this information from your platform as well too. Leverage it. Use it. Try it. It's important, right? And last but not least, make them feel special. Communicate to them like they're your only customer by sending them the right message at the right time. You've got to really understand where they are in their journey, and that is customer experience. So wrapping it up real quick, use segmentation. That's clear. I hope you guys have a better understanding of what segmentation really means here today. Make sure you understand that. 2, acquisition optimization, retention. Have a purpose and a goal, and understand that that's a flywheel that you'll always be pushing on, because that's going to allow you to increase your LTV or CLTV. And then hyper-personalize your messages. To maximize your conversion, create a repeat buying cycle and understand it. For example, I know that if I look holistically across my audience, most repeat buyers happen between day 14, day 30, day 60, and day 90. There's a reason for that. There's actually a pattern behind that, because those repeat cycles are occurring based on paychecks, lifestyles, interests. There's so many things that come into place there. All right. So with that, I want to as I promised, let's get into a holiday event-based marketing roadmap. If you're not ready for this holidays, or if you don't really think the Black Friday holiday is important to you, either way, you can apply this to anything. You can apply this to middle of the summer sale if you want to. However, I want to give you one that I use time and tried, that we've used in my business and I've seen work in other businesses, around how you really drive a real event-based marketing. Let's talk about Black Friday then. All right. So first things first, prepare with that plan. First keyword here is event. Okay. An event is a single instance or behavior taking place on a website, personalized communications based on behavior or the lack of. All right. So I'm going to flip your mind to real world again. We go to a concert, comedian, whatever you want to call it. Let's just use concert though, because it's pretty relevant for everybody. A concert is an event, right? There's an opener. You show up. You're like, hey, this music's great. This comedian's funny. Whatever it might be, there's an opener. Then you get to the main show. That's what you paid for. The main show's great. It's awesome. And usually, if the main show's awesome, there is an encore event. And so at the end, you get an encore, get one last shot because you just want to hear them one more time before they're out of there. And sometimes they go, man, we sold out and things were so great. There's a second event. I want you to think about what the event space has done. They've created a marketing plan for you right in front of your face. And so I'm going to break this down in a workflow so we can go through it. So here's first, before we jump into that though, I've said it over and over, always have a goal for a plan. Don't ever start making a plan without a goal. So what's the goal? First, you got to make sure that everything we do is memorable: colors, design, feel. We want to create brand awareness by education of the brand. We want revenue, generate more, and shorten the purchase cycle. We want to build trust and build it strong. And we want to get retention strong so we can prepare them for their second purchase. So those are some of my goals as we approach this event playbook. All right. So the first thing I have on here, and you don't need to squint too hard, all of these will light up eventually, but pre-sell. That's kind of where I'm going to start here today, because not enough companies do a pre-sell, and you'd be shocked what we did. At my last company, my D2C brand that I had, we used to pre-sell the living heck out of people, and it worked wonderful. So on Wednesdays, we would pre-sell everybody by sending them an email teasing them about the product that's releasing on Friday, but there was no way to buy. All they could do is read about it, learn about it, understand what it does and why it's special. And then on Friday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we release an email with the new product and the link. And at first, it took a while to create that repetitive cycle, but over time, we had at a point where if we weren't sending that email at 9:03 p.m., we were getting messages on our IG or our Facebook Messenger at the time. Where's my email? I don't think I got my email. Is the product live? Where can I buy the product? And you create hype. And that is the power behind a pre-sale. And let's talk about that then. All right. So we're going to kick it off with a pre-sale segments. You should be using your current customers. You should be splitting off your VIPs, your top 20%, and your subscribers, but not all the customers, right? So people who are subscribers that opted in, but have never purchased anything. And if you don't have this data in your system, well, that's a problem too. All right. So messaging, how does that look like? Introduction, reminder of the brand and mission. What do you stand for? Why is it special? Why is this special? What are you selling? Create the hype when it launches. All right. That's the first step. You're selling the sizzle. You're getting them ready for the sizzle. I always use the Mexican restaurant analogy in that when you order a set of fajitas, you hear them first coming out the door, you smell them, and then finally you see them when you're ready to enjoy. Think that when you're thinking about sizzle. All right. So then it goes right off to the introduction email. Number one, we think about that introduction. We're going to use segments, current customers. We're going to use your MVC, of course, and your subscribers. You're going to split them all up. These are all different emails. These are not one email. This is one, 3 MVC and all your subscribers. That's 4 different emails you need to create. They don't need to be that different. But remember, personalized to what you believe and understand about that segment of user. Your messaging looks like this: clear and direct. Remind them about the first email. Sell the sizzle. And clear CTAs. That's your first email. You get it out there and you said, all right, I've already pre-sold you. I've got you warmed up and now I'm dropping it. It's here. Click the button and purchase. Then I'm going to follow that up with an introduction SMS. This is why it needs to be unified, by the way. If it's not, this is going to be disjointed and will not work. All right, segmentation. Current customers who did not make a purchase, subscribers who did not make a purchase. Our messaging is going to be a reminder about this introduction email I just sent you, a clear CTA. And of course, if you don't do SMS for some crazy reason right now, you should go ahead and send it as an email. Then we're going to follow it up with a branding and an education email because, well, we've got to educate them again. I know what you're thinking. Well, they already know about my brand. We'll keep educating them. Segments, current customers, recent actives, did not buy, subscribers, actives, 60-day. And we're starting to narrow the segment down because we don't want to over email. We've already started to cast the net. Our idea is prospecting, getting people in, and you'll see why this is really important later on. Messaging, sell the mission in the brand, focus on the how or the what the product does, sell the outcome or the benefit. You got to read those two, how and what, and sell the benefit or the outcome. All right. Don't talk about the things that are obvious. Focus on what it is. This is where email copy or SMS copy comes in really important, or website copy as well too for your CRO. All right. And then you got your reminder SMS right behind it. Of course, current customers who are engaged to everything but did not buy, and same thing with subscribers. And the messaging should be simple. Recap of the sale. Give them a coupon if you want, optional. But if you'd like to start throwing them a coupon here, you could. Give them a time frame. Now is the time to start saying it is ending. It is over, my friend. You need to be thinking about it. And of course, send it as an email if you don't have SMS available. Then you've got your closing soon email. We are closing, all right? All your customers, your non-buyers, all engaged, and we're going to message them with a time to build urgency. Clear closing, expiring, recap of the offer, reminder of the last chance, and we're going to leave it right into the next day to a closing 24-hour email. Engage customers, engage subscribers. Messaging is clear final call, clear time, clear offer, and clear CTA. This thing is closing. You got today. Think about it, remember. And then we layer that on with some SMS warnings as we start coming down, and you start thinking about engaged customers, non-buyers, engaged to this series of SMS and email only. And those are the only segments. Again, why unification is important. Messaging, warning, FOMO, last chance, 12-hour warning, images, graphics with MMS. Send as an email, of course, if you don't have the SMS available. And then 3-hour warning, right? What does it look like? Your active customers who did not purchase in the last 4 emails, right? Subscribers engaged in the last 4, but did not purchase. We're tightening it down now. You'll see we're tightening it really down, right? Direct link, message it clear. This is the last chance, 3 hours left, and send as an email or SMS. And again, I reiterate one more time, if you don't have the unified SMS and email product, it's really hard to put those two together. All right, so let's jump into the break right here, right? So we take a break. We've got to stop. We got to close down the website changes, coupons, pop-ups, everything there, right? We're going to jump right into what we call an encore right after that because, well, that's the best way to revive people, right? So we take an encore and say segments. Customers engage with the series, did not buy, and non-buyers, and subscribers engaged in the series but did not buy, right? We're tightening down the segment and the hatch now at this point and really focusing on the engagement. Then we've got messaging that comes into play with this, right? You tell a story, you share this with Encore, truly one last chance, and then a direct sale. And then we jump into an Encore SMS, and I'll fly through this. Same thing, active engage with the people in these talks. Quick recap, clear message, clear terms, clear CTA, and clear final chance. And then, of course, we're going to finish it off with the final call, right? You're going to only do people who have engaged with this series, and you're going to message them with, hey, it's your last chance. Clear CTA, sell the benefit, clear closing, and that's the last email. And your goal from all this is taking something like this where you just batch and blast a bunch of emails and turn it into actual revenue that you're driving for your business. And I leave you with these quick 10 last quick tips real quick, and I'm done after that. I know that I'm over time here. So remember, this is the one time of the year that people expect emails. I want to be really clear about that. They expect emails. They expect sales. They expect to be promoted. Utilize it. Leverage it. Plan early and test a lot. You've heard it. Optimization, planning, and testing. Important. Leverage date and times. Remember, look at your other channels. Understand where your audience is online. Look for that. Don't look at just your email. Look at your SMS. Look at your social website. Look at your GA. Find out when people are relevant on your website, and that's when you should be communicating with them. The more holiday-centric your brand looks, the stronger you will get in results. Throw a Santa hat on there. Throw some snowflakes all over your website. Make it more holiday-centric. Add SMS. I don't think SMS is optional anymore. I think it's something you need to do. So I'd say add SMS. Leverage segmentation. That's pretty clear in today. Make sure you're doing everything tracked because this year's learning is next year's optimization. And that's the most important thing you take is each and every year you should be getting better in place. And then, of course, have the right tools in place. So no delays on that is really, really important. All right. Well, thank you for that. I know I went through a lot here. We'll email you the slides. Of course, we email. So we'll email you slides. How do you get a hold of me? That's my email there, jk@sendlane.com. Please email me if you have questions. I'm happy to answer.